Thank you very much, Madam MC. Our Head of National Education Service Delivery, Mr. Dimodembure, Divisional and District Education Officers, the Executive Support Team from the Ministry of Education, our primary and secondary heads of schools, our media partners, ladies and gentlemen, Samabula Vinaka, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to you all. And I think it's a very good morning indeed, as we all gather here this morning to share and pave the way forward for 2020. 2020, in my view, is a very important year for us because we count on your experiences and we count on your wealth of knowledge, and we look forward to working with you to ensure that 2019, the way we progress with 2019, we can carry the good work forward in 2020. I see 2020 as a year of opportunity, as a year of hope, and as a year of celebration. We started off coming down to your level on your student-free days last Wednesday. And we started the planning way before when you're all out on holidays. So I'd like to thank my team here, a very vibrant team, rejuvenated, eager to move into 2020 with renewed energy. And I'm sure all of you present here in the room, I've been told there are close to 119 heads of schools. We welcome you to 2020, and the newly appointed heads of schools, we also welcome you to join the other heads of schools colleague, and I'm sure you also come up with a lot of expectations and your experiences for the schools that you are to lead. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody mentioned, one of the MCs, one of the senior education officers mentioned, I think yesterday when we were at Xavier and at Reiki, this ministry is very different from other ministries. And the task ahead of us is a mammoth task. And I love the word when he said, we have a mammoth task ahead of us. And when we say we, it's you and I included. Many a times, you look at your own institutions and you look at the issues, the challenges that you face. I want us to go into 2020 as we as a team. You are an important part of Team Ministry of Education, Heritage and Art. And I believe in being a team player. And I would love to hear your challenges, your views as to how we can make things work better. Okay? Generally speaking, I've heard comments, oh, Ministry of Education is in a mess. Can I tell you, Ministry of Education is not in a mess. There are administrative issues which we must all acknowledge, and we must acknowledge the fact that these issues, there are solutions available if we work together. Okay? In a timely manner, if we put our heads together, and if you all are committed to the cause, I'm sure we will be doing justice to the people we are mandated to serve. And those are the children and the parents of our nation. And your appointments to your position, I think, are very special, very special. You are privileged to be leading the institutions where you have been placed. And I'd like to put a plea today to the Suva heads of schools to make sure that you are fully committed to the roles and the responsibilities that we have given to you. And you will work with us, putting aside personal differences, putting aside any other differences. And let's treat every child that is in our institution with the respect, dignity, regardless of the socio-economic conditions, regardless of the ability of your children, whether they're disabled, whether they're able, regardless of where they come from, race, religion, creed, looks, etc. Let's treat everybody fairly and squarely, and that will start with us. Thank you very much. You know, the whole idea, ladies and gentlemen, was for you to tell us who you are. It's for your colleagues to also know. It's very important that you know where your colleagues are. I'm very impressed when he says what was it that you said? One of the remotest schools. And I think we must show our appreciation to all the heads of schools and all the teachers who are teaching in very, very remote maritime schools, remote schools around Viti Levu and Vanua Levu. And you only have to travel to see for yourself the challenges that your colleagues face. Okay? So because we are a team, I would love to see you work in a team and network. I know you have your principals conference and other conferences and workshops, but as a division, okay? You need to communicate with yourself, share best practices, see what works well for you. And like I said, that's the way forward. And the key word for us, ladies and gentlemen, for 2020 is developing respectful relationships with each other. I believe in human beings. I believe in human resources. And you are our assets. You are the best human resources that we have. You are there because you and I are both trusted to look after our nation's greatest assets, and they are our children. Okay? So you are a resource to us. So do justice to the position that you have been given. To some of you, I mean, like for me, being a leader is a privilege. It is a privilege. It is an honor. Whether you are a leader at a national platform, whether you're a leader at an international platform, whether you're leaders in your schools and your communities, even the home. And let's lead with passion. Ministry of Education needs committed, dedicated, and passionate leaders. And when you were introducing yourself, that the smile that you had on the face, that is the smile you should aim to see on your teachers' faces. Get that? No matter what the challenge is, believe me, if I stood here and I told you what my challenges were looking after the 275 plus students, multiplied by the number of parents that we have to look at, it's way beyond probably your understanding, okay? You look after small communities. So smile with that challenge. Enter your schools with that smile. Walk out if you have issues. Walk out of the gate and say, okay, what a day. I'm happy. That's being a good leader. Don't give up. Never give up to situations. Every situation has a solution. And I think as I look across the room, the young leaders probably, we have some very young leaders. I don't know how I can define that with age. Nobody wants to be called old. It's just a number, right? So there are some very young leaders here. And we look up to you for that energy that we need. We look up for your innovative ideas. Some of us sometimes over the years forget that we live in a very modern and a very changed society. We need to understand the expectations of the society. We need to understand that our children are not the children we were when we were in school. So let's be transformational leaders. Change. I believe in change. But I believe change should come slowly. Okay? On that note, why I'm talking about change? You have to work with the school managements. You have to work with the faith-based organizations that run your institutions. And you need to work with the government of the day in ensuring that we implement the policies and the vision that we have. Okay? So whichever organization that you work with, please understand the culture and ethos of that. Understand the expectations of the community. Very important. I would not want to encounter a situation where the head of schools works in contradiction to what the community expects of you, what your management expects of you. So the first thing that you do is familiarize yourself with management. Some of you have been there for long, so you understand. The newly appointed heads, sit with your managers. There's a new management handbook that we've just uploaded on the website. Okay? See how you can demarcate the role of the management and the role of the head of school. Head of school, academic. Management looks after infrastructure, compound, building, etc. So have a very workable relationships with them. Okay, if I can come back again to your roles with management. Recently we had a couple of cases where managements were imposing parent-teacher association levy. For your information, parent-teacher association levies are voluntary. Have a talk with your management and say, look, that has nothing to do with me. But I was made aware of certain few schools where the schools were using the school official receipt books to give receipts to parents who were imposed with it. You cannot impose. Okay, so we are going to talk with those schools, and the reasons given there, well, if I can start with money because money matters. The reasons given by some of those school managements was that because there's been a reduction in the faith grant. Let me make it very clear, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we've had a $2.7 million cut in terms of your free education grant. But when we had the meetings earlier on, as the way forward to sort of cushion the impact of those reductions, we've said we will allow you to via funds from other allocations. We've said that. Okay, Director of Finance later on will be talking more about that. So as a head of school, please understand the various allocations that you have. Yeah, I get so excited I forget where I'm supposed to start. So your fake grant allocations, I think we'll be talking about that later on, but it's very important that you're aware. 30% for this, 20% for, 10% for, all those percentages. So should you decide that you've done justice to that particular allocation, like your labs are all up to date, some of your buildings are up to date. So we will give you about 30%, Danish? Give you about 30% for building and maintenance. And you know you don't need a new infrastructure, but you need some money for administration. Talk to us. We will give you approval to use that. Why I'm trying to say that is we don't want to burden parents with extra financial responsibility. Okay, so some briefs about that. But ladies and like I said, I get so excited when I'm with teachers. I see a lot of my colleagues. I don't see any of my students here, because in the Western I saw students. I see a lot of my advanced college colleagues here. And I'm very much proud that you've risen to these levels of leadership. And all those, we are very proud that you are part of the Ministry of Education's executive team. Okay? And you know, being an English teacher, I always go back to some poetry that has hard-hitting messages. And I just want to start this with you, but because this is so small, I can't even see. In your line of work as leaders, ladies and gentlemen, we will often find people who are unreasonable and self-centered. Okay? Not directed to anybody, it's just our work. We will find people who are unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway as a person. Okay? I can't read this, Sujata. If you are kind, people will accuse you of having selfish motives. Be kind anyways. If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyways. If you find happiness, people will be jealous of you. Be happy anyways. The good that you do today may be forgotten tomorrow, but do good anyways. Right? Man, my eyes are so bad. Let's see. The best that you give to those that you serve may never be enough, but give your best anyways. Because see, ladies and gentlemen, when we started off with this session with the prayer, it's always between you and your Lord upstairs, whoever you believe in. So as teachers, like I said, a lot of trust has been placed in us. No matter what we do, may never be enough, but keep doing the best. I mean, if I stood here and told you the things that I go through, my team goes through every day, every minute, it's hard. And I'm sure you go through that as well. Because expectations, the community's expectations of us as teachers is very high. The benchmark that they have for us, it's very high. We may not be able to do things up to that, but let's strive to do better each day. But keep on doing what we do best. And have faith in yourself. We are always here to support you. We'll always be here to listen to you. And that's one of the reasons why we've said, let's start 2020 engaging in discussions. And again, if I can go back to the word that I said, respectful relationships. We want to form a very respectful relationship with you, our leaders. You need to do that with your teachers. You need to do that with your students. And you need to do that with your communities, right? If we keep on picking out and highlighting faults, flaws, every individual has flaws. If we keep doing that, we will never be able to move forward. So as Team Suva, you have your divisional here. And I've told the divisional to step up. I've told them, step up. That applies to all of you as well. Let's step up, all of us. Let me say us. There's no you and I. Let's step up 2020. Let's go out of our way and see that we make a difference to our institutions. We make a difference to those students we are supposed to lead. So, some good news. Let's celebrate with our national results. The problem is I go all over the place. Okay? I'm sure you've by now got your school's result. And what you need to do now is discuss it with your team, compare it with the national results, and let's set higher benchmarks for 2020. The divisionals will come up. Now we have a new head service delivery. He has a big task on his on his shoulders as well. We will set national targets and we will work for it. So if I can take you through year 6, we started with 48% in 2016, and that was no scaling. Okay? We moved up to 50% in 2017, then we went to 64% in 2018. At the moment, 2019 results stands at 56. Not too impressed with that. So primary school heads, we need to put your heads together and see this year what targets you want to set, and based on that we will set our national targets and work towards it. Year 8 started with 65% in 2016. We went to 68% in 2017. 2018 we dropped down a little bit to 59, and we pulled up last year and went to 69%. Still room for improvement. Year 10, we started with 45% in 2016, went up to 55% in 2017. 2018, we went to 54. Last year, we dropped down 1% and are sitting at 53 again. Right? You know your challenges, you know your issues. Let's step up and give ourselves a different target. Secondary schools, you have something to celebrate. Though these results are provisional, year 12, we started with 61% in 2016, went up to 71% in 2017, then 72% in 2018, and this year, provisionally, we sit at 73%. That's job well done. But again, like I said, this year, we have to move a step further. We may need to change our strategies. We may need to change our leadership styles, right? Teaching techniques. And let's see what benchmarks we can set. I'm not asking for 100%. I'm being very realistic because I come from the classroom. And to get 100%, I don't know, it's very unreal for the time being, given the fact that we are getting different calibers of students. The schools in maritime and rural areas are pressed for resources as well. So we will work with you to say, okay, these are the targets national. Central division, you can say these are our targets. You know your children better. Okay. Year 13, yes, we have something to celebrate. We started with 65% in 2016, 71% in 2017, 2018 we had 84%, we went down to 79%, but it's still provisional, well over 70. So the secondary schools, you've maintained your results to well over 70, but we can do better. Again, we will have to regroup, re-strategize, and rethink about how we're going to do things differently in 2020. So I'd like to congratulate you for that. Those schools who haven't done too well, those schools who have done moderately well, and those schools that have done exceptionally well, you have every reason to celebrate with your staff and students. And I'd love to see them. Commend your teachers, commend your children, involve the community. There's no stoppage to that. Let's celebrate our successes. Let's bring out the good things that you as leaders are doing. And let's get out of the gloom and doom that the Minister of Education is always portrayed as. Let's be happy and celebrate. And let's say, yes, we failed in 2019, but we're going to do better in 2020. That's how we move forward. If we keep dwelling about negative things, remember, we'll always get negative results. So go talk to your staff in a very positive manner. Now that brings us to another fact. There's a lot of questions about why we want to put heads of schools back in the classroom. I think the information that I'm getting through, I'm a bit concerned about the information that I'm getting through. Some heads are opposing, the unions actually are opposing that. I'm not sure whether they're opposing it or they feel that they have to put their views forward. But remember, we look after all of you. You are members of your unions, no issues with that, that's your right. But we look after everybody. One of the reasons, this is my initiative, one of the reasons why I said that as heads of schools, we need to be in the classroom is so that you don't lose grip of what's happening, so that you are a team player. We're not asking you to take full lessons or full loads. The directors will talk to you about the minimum that you need to do. The 40-minute lesson or probably a 1 hour for primary school, depending on the level of your schools, right? If you're a PMEC teacher, if you're a science teacher, you are full of wisdom. You are the best person. Go down to a class, share it with one of the new graduates and say, look, this is how I've been doing these things. I'm not asking you to mark papers. I'm not asking you to analyze results because you analyze the overall school results. Just be a team player. Share your knowledge and share your wisdom with those that you are expected to lead. That's the whole idea. If you look at your roles, heads of schools, it's basically administrative. You are allowed to delegate responsibilities. You are allowed to do that. How many of you honestly can say that you are responsible or you actually fill in the FEMIS? You delegate it, right? I have no issues with that, but you will be held responsible for the information that you pass on to us at headquarters. Because the information that you give us on your student numbers and your infrastructure audit and all that, we here use it to plan the way forward for budgetary allocations, for planning, for policy. So your role is basically delegating responsibilities. If I was to ask how many of us know how to do timetabling, or how many of you actually do timetables, you might say, well, my VP does it. But shouldn't it be yours? So that you know this particular math science teacher has the adequate load. So this history geography teacher is teaching the right load. So this PMEC teacher is doing that. But I don't have a problem with that. You're delegating duties. But again, you must understand your duties to be held responsible. So when there's overstaffing, our audits show some schools are overstaffed. When we are having shortage of math science teachers, we found out in the holidays that some heads of schools withheld that information. They don't want to release teachers. That's being very selfish. There are schools and students across the country that need math science teachers. We've managed to put 11 math science teachers who returned from in-service and completion of their studies back into the school system, yet we are still running short. So please do the right thing. If you have excess teachers, let us know so that they can be posted to do justice to our students across the country. These are national issues that we want you to understand as leaders. Don't just think about your institution. If I let go of a science teacher, my other teacher would be overloaded. No, don't overload. And don't underload teachers as well. That's underutilization of human resources within the ministry. So as a leader, ladies and gentlemen, we humbly plead with you to do the right thing. Go out of your classrooms, visit your schools. I'd love to see a head of school who's PMEC. Who's a PMEC guy. Don the tracksuit and the shoes and go out in your playground. Do that. English teachers, seniority, the best English. You could be the best English teacher. Identify weaknesses in maths results. Nationally our maths results have not been very good. So how do we do things differently? Remember, when students don't do well in maths, etc. at senior level, it affects their careers. So how do we do things differently this year? Your maths association, your English association, your geography association, your PMEC association, lift up. If the divisions don't have it, encourage networking. Meet up, share your resources, develop resources. You get that? So these are simple things that we want you to take note of. There are a lot of things that we want to do. And then, like I said, in terms of budget, we always talk about budget. We are getting the highest chunk of the national budget. 21% to stand to be corrected there. Because we employ close to 17,372 teachers. We are the largest employer. And chunk of our budget goes towards your salary and operations. Okay, so the nation expects that much from us to do the right thing. Again, it's very important that we need to talk about numbers and figures to say what we are doing. If I can give you total student numbers enrolled within our institutions, including the tertiary institutions, don't think you are not responsible for the tertiary students. You are. Because the students that come out to the doors of your institutions end up in our tertiary institutions, and they make up the workforce of the country. From ECE to primary to secondary to vocational to tertiary, we are responsible, right? So we have 275,230 students, inclusive of tertiary. ECE, 19,109, a lot. Your ECE teachers need to be guided. I don't have the numbers now, but from last year till today, a lot of ECE teachers have upgraded. Because we need to start with quality at ECE. When I joined in and we looked at the structure of the qualifications that our EC teachers had. Somebody would be somebody from the neighborhood, a parent, a manager's wife, somebody with this Form 7. So we've said no. And of course it affects the pay that they get. So we've seen a lot of ECE teachers upgrading. So that's where quality starts. Quality starts. Discipline, values, manners, all that starts. From home to ECE, we strengthen it. Coming back to that, parental engagement for discipline issues is very important. How well you know your community. If you have discipline issues in your schools, ladies and gentlemen, liaise with your parents. We at headquarters will not be able to solve your discipline issues. We can only give you policies to guide what you can do. Okay? So we have 19,109, I think we have close to 1,000 ECE teachers, if I can be corrected, or probably less than 1,000 ECE teachers. Primary enrollment this year stands at about 148,048 students. Big number. Secondary stands at 66,127. Vocational, we have 3,287 students, and tertiary enrollment stands at 38,659. So, like a quota, more than a quarter of Fiji's population we look after. And can you imagine when we say mammoth task? Individuals, we look at individuals. It's a big and a mammoth task. That's why I said we need teamwork. Again, I think I made an error there. 13,727 teachers. 13,727 teachers. 1,452 ECE teachers. Oh, more than 1,000. 6,232 primary teachers we have. 5,732 secondary teachers we have. And 311 vocational teachers. I think they will be transferred to FNU because we've merged our technical colleges with FNU. Wow. These poor shoulders have to look after all them. Of course, you'll have to share that weight too, eh? We can't keep everybody happy, like I said. We can't keep. But we will have to do the best we can. You would probably go home after 4:30 and have a good time with your families. Ask the team here, this small team, and with the skeleton staff we had at headquarters, when do we sleep? When do we take out family time? Okay? So have that privilege while you have that. Supposedly you rise to higher leadership positions. It's very difficult, very stressful. But again, you don't give up. We don't give up. We keep going and take each day at a time. Okay? And of course we are there. I've said that in the other meetings. Your success is yours. Your success is yours. We will take care of your failures. We stand ready to walk with you when you fail. We will hold your hand. Celebrate. Bask in the glory of your success. When you fail, we will be there. Day and night, we will be there to guide and assist you. And that, I think, is the only consolation we can give you. Whatever is within our means and powers, we will be there for you. Okay? Okay, so we've already congratulated you on your external examination results. A lot of issues like transfers now. We've had issues with transfers, and I think you need to go back and tell your teachers that we received well over 1,900 transfer requests for 2019. And transfers are an ongoing process. You've got to understand that. If somebody asked for it, even if you asked me for a transfer, the various factors that we look at, the HR is always under attack. Right? But you've got to understand 13,727 teachers and with 69, HR we have about 69 staff. Well, there's no excuse for that. I'm not standing here making excuse for anybody. But we are going to have to strengthen our processes at HQ to ensure that we are able to serve you better. But when it comes to transfers, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to tell your teachers, there's certain factors. The transfer policy that's there, know that. We are bringing about a slight change in the transfer policy. We are allowing swap in terms of family matters. At one time, there was a stop to swap. There were various reasons for that. We did not want to disadvantage somebody who's been there for long, and suddenly a swap comes and that teacher stays there and you do that. We allow that, and we prioritize that if it has to do with your family relocation, health. But don't take advantage of that. So by doing that, we have been able to transfer exactly 900 and, it's somewhere here, I'll go back, over 900 teachers have been transferred in 2019, in these holidays. There are still 600 plus pending transfers, and they might not be transferred now, maybe in the term, etc. But those on priority requests have been put on a priority pool. As and when vacancies arrive, we advise them. But then we have to find a replacement. I'm sure some of you will come and ask the questions that when teachers are transferred, there's a replacement is not sent. So that's what we are trying to say. I know that's your question, okay? And we are aware of that. And we became aware of that when we went out for student-free days. And that's why we went out for student-free days. Your unions accused me of policing you. They accused us, the team here, of no. We have full trust in you. Let me put that straight. Let me put that straight. We have full trust in you, and there's no need for us to police. But this year, we will be having a lot of advisory visits. Your national head will be talking about the need for advisory visits, because we have found out there's a disconnect between the divisions and the schools. We intend to bring that advisory visit back to monitor and guide and help you prepare for the external examinations, without compromising on the core curricula and the holistic development of your children. Make sure your children are exposed to co-curricular activities. Sports is also given priority with balanced health, sports, oratories, dramas. There's so many things that go on. Excursions, field trips, those are part of a normal school life. No compromises to anything, but balance it, plan it, calendar it. Write to us before that you want to go for a field trip in this particular day. Sometimes you just write to us a day before, the students are ready, the bus is ready, about to go, then we receive a call. Very now no. She worked at the headquarters. Okay, so better planning. Better. Another thing that I want to do this year is to work with your divisions and then compile a year planner for all schools. For example, when it's exam time, then every child in Fiji should be in that mode. Right? So you will give us that information, that your students should be ready for a midterm exam by week 8, something like that. You will tell us that, because you know your students. You'll be able to cover that much. So every school then will say, okay, by week 8, secondary schools, this coverage must be done. So it's a national midterm exams. Every child in Fiji knows exam time. Whole mood is created. For athletics, if you say athletics in April, whatever date, then your trainings must start. Some schools start training on the first day of school. Some schools start training on the third or fourth week of school. Plan it better. No, children in Suva love athletics. You just see that when they go down to the stadium. Love that. Don't kill that. Don't kill that spirit. It's very important. But better planning. Better planning. Some give too much emphasis on sports. They use a lot of money from FEG on sports. Balance it. Your library must be equipped. Your computer lab must be equipped. Your evolution blocks must be up to standard. Your classrooms must have windows. The fans must be there. Balance it. For the last 4 or 5 years, we've been giving you free education grant and the allocations. If you have used it accordingly, ladies and gentlemen, or those that were there before you, if they have used it according to the allocations, I'm sure in the last 5 years till today, we have up-to-date facilities. Unfortunately, your priorities differ. Some don't see the evolution block as a priority. I see that. When you enter an evolution block, you can judge. National Head Service Delivery spoke about heads of schools must be able to understand the difference between a kitchen and an evolution block, a playground and a cane field, a school environment and a jungle. Let me put it that way. First week of schools, perfect. Some schools have done so well. The upkeep of your school environments. And you must be congratulated. However, there are some schools that are still struggling. And with this bad weather, can you imagine how keeping the compound clean would be? So plan your work. Set your expectations for your staff who does all that in the holidays. You have a gardener, you have a handyman, and you have the administrative staff, etc. That they should make sure the work is done. Now you will say we need to do that if you release our grants, right? We'll talk about grants. Let's come to Suva, people. So, this is your figures for the Suva division. How many grants we have released so far? 82 primary schools, we've released 50. 50 schools grant has been released. 32 of you have still not forwarded us your class audits. You need to fill in FEMIS, your class audits, the numbers. So Director of Finance is here, you talk, he will tell you which schools are there. Do it fast so we can release your grants. I'm not going to name people, I don't want to do that. I don't believe in naming and shaming. Secondary schools, we have 37 secondary schools, we've paid 22 out. And 15, again, pending because of your class audit. So do that so that your money is given to you. And I'm sure schools have surpluses from previous years which we never asked to be refunded to us. Prudent financial management, that's the word. Prudent financial management. Let's not cry about the fact that grants have been reduced. He will tell you $18 per child, whatever. He'll give you the exact figures. But if you prudently manage what we've given you, I'm sure we should be able to do that. Managements and PTAs will be met later on to discuss about their ways forward. We have some managements who are very ambitious about infrastructure. Very good. They want the best for the children. But how do we plan for that? Because it all comes with financial implications. So plan it up with the manager. Next 2 years, we want to have a new classroom building because the numbers are increasing. It has to be justified. We need to develop this computer lab because our science number students are increasing, something like that. Look at your student enrollment numbers. For smaller schools, look at your kinder ECE numbers and say, look, in next year, look at the zone. We might have 40 extra students coming to, say, Vashis Muni. Do you have a classroom? Start planning. Don't send parents away on the first day of school, no space. You are not a good leader. Advise them. We have space for 60 or 70 students. There's a nearby school, but I know sometimes parents prefer to go at that particular school. So that's where you plan. You need a new classroom. Okay? Don't agree to management starting up a new classroom and then coming back to the ministry and say, you pay the rest. We have budgets as well. A lot of schools come back to us and say, look, we've started it, it's halfway, and we need 150,000 more. I don't have 150,000 extra to give to you because it's all planned and committed. The funds that we got for 2019, 2020, we already committed it. So if there's something like that, come to AMU with a proposal and say, let's factor it into the next budget. That's how government's budget works. It's not like we have our ATM and you go take it out like that. Sometimes when there's no money, you can't take it out. So we plan it. Prudent financial management practices must be embraced by all school heads. Discuss with your school managers. What is their priority? So ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of things, and I think one of the issues that we have at the moment is e-ticketing. Please be mindful of that, the challenges that your children face. Advise us on the number of children who are still facing issues with that e-ticketing. And the PS, before I forget, you know our PS we don't have, the former PS has resigned, and I'd like to thank her for the services that she gave to the Minister of Education, and we welcome the new acting PS and we'll work with her because it's business as usual for the Minister of Education. Okay? So please do advise us that you have a certain number of students who are still having issues with e-ticketing and we need to resolve that. Okay? Try to be a problem solver. Don't quickly pick up the phone and call Minister of Education and say, this is the problem. Solve it. You should have that ability to solve your own problems. Unless, of course, it's major crisis that you come and say, look, we need your assistance. We will be there to assist you. Okay? And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I think I took a lot of your time, but I had to say all this thing. The weather is not very favorable. We have sort of given instructions yesterday to close schools in Rotuma because of the bad weather, because of the path the cyclone is taking. And of course, schools in the north, I think they'll be closed tomorrow. But here, if the weather deteriorates, really deteriorates, then we will instruct you to advise your parents your children before they go home through you and through our media releases. Okay? So all in all, thank you very much for being here. I know I can see the excitement on your faces because I'm equally excited to work with you. And like I said, let's make 2020 a new year, a year of hope. A lot of opportunities for us to capitalize on if we work as a team. Let's be good despite the storms and the hurdles that come our way, and we will overcome these barriers, and we may meet later to celebrate on our successes. Do involve us in your celebrations. Let us know what you are doing in your divisions. We'd love to be part of that. And of course, Master, I'd definitely come down and visit your school because you are in the remotest. and any other school. Our focus again this year is rural maritime schools. Okay, so we'll be visiting more of that again, not to police, ladies and gentlemen, but just to be with you in your challenges and your failures and your successes as well. So God bless you all, and as you walk out the room, think with a different, new perception, how you're going to do things differently. If you've been doing that, well and good, congratulations. Tell your teachers, teaching is a very noble profession. I didn't want to say it, but let me say it. We register a lot of complaints, so let me say that. I said the negative bit at the last, right? Positive. We register a lot of complaints against teachers, okay, including me too. Everybody's complaining. We are under public scrutiny now more than ever, and it's because of this. Be mindful of the impact of social media. Be careful about the positions that you hold, and be respectful towards the expectations that your children and your community has and your colleague has for you. So when cases are registered, most of the cases registered are, ladies and gentlemen, are corporal punishment. And I'm sad to say that corporal punishment still continues, and we have a few cases registered against the heads of schools. So if you inflict corporal punishment, can you imagine what your teachers will be doing? Zero tolerance to corporal punishment. This year, zero tolerance to sexual harassment. Children to children, heads of school to staff, staff to staff, zero tolerance to sexual assaults and sexual harassment. Please don't sweep this under the carpet. We've received complaints regarding some heads of schools that sweep it under the carpet. They override the Child Protection Officer's recommendation. Don't collude on these things. Don't collude with your divisions and education officers and sweep it under the carpet. That's not the right thing to do. If you're a leader, be brave enough to bring it to our attention, and we will take disciplinary actions. Of course, giving a fair go at the person who's been accused of doing all that. Mismanagement of grants. We receive complaints when audit teams go out that some grants are being mismanaged. So they have to be reported to the police. And it's very important. So things that you are not sure of, please ask. Okay? Please ask us, and when your advisory team comes and visits you, put that forward. Write to us. We are trying to sort out the issues with HR, because a lot of complaints we've received is nobody picks up the phone, a lot of heads of school have said emails are not responded to. So we will send you some emails where you can, actually you should expect a response from any government officer at any one time. Okay? But sometimes I do sympathize with the HR because they have so much work to do, but then there's no excuse for not responding to your emails. And heads of schools have vented out their frustrations that despite numerous emails, etc., there's no response. So what I will do is I will leave you my email here before, not my phone number, I think I gave it the other day, too many calls coming. I'll leave my email with you. You can always CC me into that. Follow the proper channels of communication. Write to your divisions. You can even BCC me so that I'm aware. But there are two executive officers here. Sujata, can we see you? So that's Sujata is an executive support officer, and David there. You can ask them for your contact, forward your concerns to them as well, and they will bring it to my table. Okay? So that's how we want to go. That's how we want to be a team. I need to know what your challenges are. So once again, thank you very much. Look after your health, look after your families. That's very important. And have a safe journey back to your schools. The weather, like I said, is not in favor of us. And I wish you all the best for 2020. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Results.